If you're exhausted with content, if you're struggling to keep up with posting and can't stay consistent, you need to watch this video. I've been creating content for multiple platforms for 5 years now, and even more than that before I was a creator myself. And I know that if you don't have a great system to produce different types of posts and ideas, it all falls apart super fast. I'm Natalia and I help you create better content and grow on social media, so let's do this. I've always said that in order to stay consistent, you need 3 things: a strong strategy, a database of ideas, and a system to plan and schedule content. And it's the system that I'm focusing on today. And to make sure you're as efficient as possible, you need to build a process to research, produce, and publish your content. And I'm going to explain exactly what my process looks like so that hopefully you'll get inspired and improve your own workflow. Now, in part 1 of this video, I've explained how it all starts with planning and mapping out your content. So I highly recommend you watch it first because it will give you a great foundation to what we're covering here. So many people have brilliant ideas, but they get stuck on how to actually bring them to life. And it's the workflow that makes sure it actually happens, because every piece then has a clear path to publishing. It's that clarity that really matters here. So having a good system that supports you and guides you through every step of creation is so important. Now, I choose to use Notion for everything in my business, really, because 1, it's free, and 2, it's so flexible and so customizable that I really have everything I need here. So let's look at what my content pipeline looks like. Every post gets from idea to prioritize, so it's my shortlist, then creating and scheduling, and then published. That's the big picture, and this particular view helps me track where everything is at a glance. Since we've talked about planning already, let's quickly recap so that we're on the same page. I normally plan 4 to 6 YouTube videos first, then I add corresponding email newsletters to the calendar, and then atomize my content, which we'll cover just now. So with planning, these are my main pieces of content that I then use to atomize into smaller content for Instagram. This means these normally sit in my prioritized column for YouTube and usually with dates attached to. Now, before we atomize, 2 things. In the previous video, I've talked about how content variety is something that's actually very good for us as creators, but also very good to our audiences as content consumers. So I tried to bring different formats to all my profiles. And I also explained the concept of using themes for your content, be it for a week or for a month, which helps with messaging and also then with producing that content too. I'm a YouTuber, so my videos set smaller themes for me, but you could just choose a theme for yourself if you're on TikTok or Instagram. You could maybe do like a main video that you'd reference in other content and use this as your anchor. You could be a podcaster or a blogger, and these could be your theme anchors. So this system is really universal. I'm just showing it to you on my example. Each theme or each video will have specific talking points in it. Let's look at one example from one of my older videos, which was how to write engaging Instagram captions. Here, the main talking points were learn about your audience, make it about them, hooks and calls to action, the anatomy of a good caption, and SEO and hashtags. Now, all of these are angles which I can use in my own content on a micro scale. So I could literally create a piece of content for Instagram talking about effective calls to action or about the anatomy, or I could jump into specific tactics or formulas or tips that I've shared in the video. For every theme, there's always a way to just get more granular or choose a specific angle. For my theme from my weekly YouTube video, I want to create 3 pieces of content that talk about this topic in some way. For me, this usually means a carousel, a talking head reel, and a repurpose reel, although there are so many different formats that you don't have to stick to just that. There are trendy reels, usually with specific audios, simple reels with some overlay or mini vlog or voiceover reels. You could do, a listicle post and an infographic, go live. You could do a story series, right, on the subject and then save it as a useful highlight. So these are the 3 content formats that I usually go for, but this may vary depending on what you're drawn to, what your audience likes, and even what the topic itself is about, just because you can just have a fun concept about it all. Now, we can bring the 2 together, right? So I could have a carousel with a slide for each of my talking points. It would be like a mini version of my YouTube video, but of course it wouldn't quite go as in depth. Similarly, I could do a simple B-roll based reel with key points then shown as text overlay. I could also grab a clip directly from my video which covers a specific caption formula. I've actually come up with a framework to atomize and maximize and squeeze as much as you can from your content, and it's called the repurposing matrix. Every time I create, I run my video, or you could do the same for a theme, through this matrix, and it gives me 30, 40 content ideas easily. I can then shortlist the best ones, and the next step would be placing them on my content calendar. So for each of these ideas, I create a new card based on the format I have, and since I have different templates for different content types, I just choose them from the side button right here. So we have 2 reels and a carousel here, which is a post format. And because at this stage, I want to add them to the planned content too, so that I know exactly what I need to create for that week, I move them from ideas, which is the default, to prioritized, which is my go ahead status, and then I add the dates too. Now let's look at what's inside these cards because they differ. For reels, we have a little inspiration section if you're creating an original piece, but there was something that made you think of this idea. This is the space for it. Then we have a place for script, which is handy for talking head or voiceover reels. There's also a space for caption, a section to paste a link to a sound if you're creating a trendy reel to a specific audio, place for your cover image and a video, and for me, a little section for a Pinterest description since it's often different to a caption. We just have less characters available there. Carousels are similar. We've got inspirations and caption, a space for your image or images or even videos, of course, if you're doing like an animated or a video carousel, for example, and you also have alt text. Of course, that's not all. You can see I have templates for so many different content types, so they're all there and pre-filled with useful sections so that I always know what I need to, get a given idea from just that, an idea, to an actual ready to publish post. All of these support the general creation workflow as well as the workflow for the individual pieces, so that no matter what method creation you use, if you batch content or if you just go one by one, it actually helps you push your content forward. But that's it. Let's look at the workflow itself. Instead of creating posts one by one, I actually focus on a specific activity rather than a post. This is something that I've mentioned before in this video right here, definitely worth a watch. But to explain exactly what this means, I literally first write, then I record, then design, and I don't do these separately for each post. I feel like grouping together similar activities makes you so much more productive because they require kind of a similar type of focus or prep. It helps you get into the flow state more easily and you have much less distractions because of it. So I'll do all the writing first, then all the recording, then all the designing because it keeps me tied to one activity. I should probably be more precise and divide writing because I actually write separately for YouTube first and then separately for all other content. Again, I've explained why exactly in the previous video. So card here or here. So for other content, I'll do all reel scripts and then all captions because this is a specific time block where I just sit down to write in my content flow calendar, headphones on, loads of tea as always, and I don't get distracted by anything else. Then I can move on to recording. I know I have to get sorted for the camera. I'll have the scripts ready or concepts for what I want to capture, like specific B-roll. And then once I'm done with that, I'll move on to recording any demos too, which I use Screen Studio for. And again, tutorial right here. At this point, I can move on to designing. So I'll design slides for carousels or a single post. I'll design covers for my reels and even any graphics for a newsletter. Then I can move on to scheduling if I want to, but often I just post the content manually on the day. No judgment, please. But do you see how this whole way of doing things just simplifies it all? I don't go from one post, then jump from one app to write, then to another to design, then record something, then back to another post, and again, design or write, and then another post. I don't know. For me, it just makes my head spin. I used to do it this way years and years ago, and it never really worked for me. It's just way too chaotic. If you feel like your creation has been a bit too messy, try this method and see if it's better. This workflow does what it should, so it flows very naturally and you're not rushed, so it's just easier to stay on top of things. And by the way, with this planning and creation method, you could ask if things aren't too rigid, right? But my answer is quite the contrary, because you've got everything laid out and usually everything's pre-planned or pre-created. If there's a spontaneous idea that you've got, or there's a time-sensitive post you have to publish, or you just want to jump on a super fun trend, it's easy to just move things around, and all it does is that it gives you more more freedom and space because you have more posts created for you in the pipeline. So you can be as spontaneous as you'd like, and you'll always have something in reserve. Of course, at every stage of creation, I do it all in the content flow calendar. So I'll write in the specific sections. Then once I'm ready, once I have my designs, I'll upload them right here. I then usually also embed my reels here just because I use FreeNotion, but this means I have all the necessary assets organized in one place. I don't have to go hunt for files in different apps. I can just easily download them from here too, which is especially useful on my phone. When I post on the go, I'll often just jump into Notion and grab the graphics from the postcard like this, so it's super easy to access it anywhere in the world. There's never stress of where this, or oh, I wrote this caption in my notes, or I forgot to download my graphic from Canva, and oh, I forgot about the cover. Like, it's all just flowing. It's much, much faster, and it's just calmer this way. It's also faster to schedule because, again, you have everything you need in one place and you just move from one post to the other. And it's that peace of mind that's so important to me. It means that I can track things, I can be accountable, and I can see where I'm at a glance. When I jump to my dashboard, I see what's planned for the week or the upcoming weeks and what's already been done, even if I'm dealing with something completely different like a collaboration. Again, I keep everything in the dashboard, and when I actually do checks or when I sit to create, I can quickly see what's in draft mode, what's ready to film, and also if you work with someone else, this is perfect too because they're all on the same page. I have views that support every stage of my content creation, and the whole dashboard is connected. So when I'm partnering with a brand, I have all the details accessible. When I repurpose my content, I have the pieces connected so that I can jump between them effortlessly. If I mention something in my content, if I promote something, that's all connected too, so I don't ever miss a thing. And the best part is I don't have to think about it. And so important because I know what it's like to be on a content hamster wheel, to have no energy, no time. And the worst part is when you don't have that support in the form of a content system, and then on top of everything that's been going on, you also have to clutter your mind with every single detail of getting that content out there. It's exhausting, but it doesn't have to be. If you want this exact system for yourself, you can grab my entire content flow dashboard in the description box with all the connection and all the templates, everything just ready for you to use. Or if you prefer just the content workflow calendar, by all means, you can get it below too. And let me know what's the part that slows you down the most, what's been bothering you in the whole process. And let me know in the comments. I would really, really love to know where you struggle the most so I can help in my upcoming videos too. I think this would be very useful for you too because it helps you create a strategy very easily. And of course, make sure you watch part 1 of this video if you haven't already. Subscribe because I have so much more in store for you. I'm actually so excited. And leave a like and hype if you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.